What up? What up?
Yo, 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 yo. It's another episode of the Weekend Rhyme. It's your boy Ron. It's Leroy Green checking in with you again. I know it's been a while. I've been on the mend. I've been getting
Right.
repaired, getting healed, getting my body right, man. Been a lot going on, man. I had that 19 crept up on me again, but we all good, man. We in the building. What's good, Leroy?
I'm good, man. I'm great, man. I gotta thank hip hop, man, for so many dope projects, so much music coming out that I'm just listening to endless music, man. But it's a good thing, and I think it's back to like the vibes, man. You know what I mean? Like the Common and Pete Rock album, it really was like a vibe. So I'm listening to people's album and they're tapping into a vibe and everyone's sounding real comfortable. Everybody's leaning on the strengths of what they do best. So I gotta thank the artists, man. Thank the artists, the producers. Hip hop is going through a renaissance right now. And everybody's back outside. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You know? So I've been having a great time, man. Just listening. You know what I mean? So much music, man. I got an endless amount to cook for y'all today. So, you know what I mean?
No doubt, no doubt. So I ain't 100%. So I'm gonna let you cook. When you
Yeah,
want to start off AFL, I'm gonna let you cook up, and then
it's all good.
For those that want to chime in and kind of want to be the digital virtual co-hosts, I'll
Okay.
let Leroy get people in, get people out.
Yeah.
As we go, we'll have a conversation. But where you want to start off today, man?
Well, um, you know, let's see what I got today. Behind me, y'all, I got Currency. Do y'all know Currency just dropped a project, Radioactive, was dope. But I was just gonna speak on Currency for a little while because you know, it, he hasn't been talked about enough. But I got Big Sean as well. I got Ransom. I got Freeway. I got Childish Gambino. I got Denzel Curry. I think that Denzel Curry is more something that you would really like, Ron, because he takes that Memphis sound to the max. You know what I mean? And I got Ransom. I don't know if I mentioned Ransom already. But I got a little order here. If I got to go on my order, I'm just gonna cook up. Somebody said Freeway's album is dope. Yes, yes, it was dope. How many of y'all remember Ransom's debut, the Rockefeller Philadelphia Freeway? That was fire. That was a slept on Rockefeller album. You know what I mean? I go back to the song with Nate Dogg, All My Life. All My Life was fire. Mad Max, what up? What up, Mad Max? You said Ransom was mid. Well, Ransom was only. Let's start with Ransom. Since Mad Max, we going there. Um, the Ransom was only 3 songs, so we're talking about an EP, nothing major. But Ransom, I got to give him credit for his consistency and his pin game. You know what I mean? We can't sleep on Ransom's pin game, man. It's dope. You know what I mean? And Ransom has been consistent for the last 4 or 5 years, and he's dope. You know what I mean? So the songs on there, Smoke and Mirrors, um, Annabella, and Human Nature. But I think the middle song with Chez Noir, I think that's a deep song, and I think that I appreciate two artists, male and female, going back and forth in that capacity. You know, the Ransom speaking from the male perspective, from the men, Chez Noir speaking from the female perspective, and that duality was just awesome to hear, and that honesty in both of their verses, dealing with relationships, that dichotomy there. So that was really dope. Um, I don't know what you got a chance to listen to, Ron. I know you've been doing your thing, but it's a lot of music, man.
I've been listening to the doctor's orders, man. I've been laid out, so I ain't listening to no
Doubt.
music, man. I'm watching the news. We're
Yeah,
not gonna get into politics today. We might touch on it a little bit. But I've been having news in the background,
yeah,
So there's been a lot of things going on while I've been laid out. So, it is
yeah.
what it is.
Breaking news, but dealing with politics, you're trying to deal with honesty. So Ransom, in that track particular that I'm talking about with Chez Noir, it's a lot of honest conversation back and forth with them lyrically. So I appreciate that because you really don't hear that a lot with a relationship type of song. So I give Ransom credit there. Also, you know, just lately we've been talking about adult contemporary hip hop, right? Ransom, I would like that to be Ransom's, you know, lane. That's something that we consider. You know, I'm not trying to create divisions or separations in the game, but when we're listening to rap now, it's a lot of rappers that are of age, you know, 30s and 40s and stuff like that. So it is a discussion. You know, adult contemporary hip hop. I know a lot of, you know, Nas fans believe Life is Good was the first adult contemporary album. I believe that was Kingdom Come, only because, you know, in reading the reviews to that album back in the day, it was they kept calling it post retirement and grown man album. When we think about retirement and we think about grown man, you know, that's adult contemporary hip hop. So, but Ransom, if you haven't heard that, y'all, check that out, man. And I'm looking forward to anything else that Ransom got coming. Because a brief history of his, the Pain and Glory series, History of Violence, The Proposal, Director's Cut, that series, Heavy is the Head, No Rest for the Wicked, and the 1% EP. All of those projects in which I just named were dope projects. So I think people need to go back and check those out, get familiar with Ransom, and also Made in Tokyo. If you don't know who that is, he did a phenomenal job with the beats. So you know, I hear you, Mad Max. You're talking about the Childish Gambino. You think it was garbage. I'll briefly touch on the Childish Gambino only because I only listened to it once. So I'm not the expert on what that sound is. But you know, I appreciate that sound because it's something different. I was big on Pharrell. You know what I mean? Back in the day, Pharrell and Kanye. So that musicality between them both, and I'll talk about that them both as well in terms of Big Sean later on. But the Childish Gambino, I appreciate the willingness just to be different. You know, the first song I think it was called Heart. Let me see if I got that written down. Okay, Hearts Were Meant. That was dope. The music, it reminded me of a Yeezus type of track. Lithuania, also dope. Just the hook on that was also dope. So just, you know, it's not going to be a lot of people's cup of tea, and you know, like a hardcore hip hop, you know, bass, but it's dope if you like something different. If you're just looking for a change up, the concept behind the record has something to do with the TV show that he's currently working on. So I thought that was dope. You know what I mean? So shout out to him. You know what I mean? Mad Max. You know, I don't think he's not a fan of it, but I thought it was dope. You know, I thought it was dope. You know what I mean? Hold on, I can't hear you, Ron.
Okay, let's lead off of that. Let's go into Freeway. What did you think of the Freeway
Okay.
album?
Freeway, Freeway is dope. And when I seen that he was about to drop the stimulus package part two, the stimulus package part one was dope. I remember that project. You know what I mean? And so when I seen he was coming with a part two, I was like, you know, that's dope. Jake One as a producer. I don't know if a lot of y'all are familiar with Jake One, but like if you go back to the Three Kings beat from God Forgives I Don't from the Rick Ross album. So Three Kings, he did that. He also did Smile Mama or Mama Smile with CeeLo. Those were two dope beats. He did Troublemakers from the Apollo Kids album. Ghostface. He did Salute from No Mercy. How many of y'all remember T.I.'s album No Mercy? Salute. Salute may have been like, you know, probably like the top 3 or 4 songs on that album. So that was a dope beat. He also had Down in New York City. If you have not heard the Evidence song Down in New York City, he did that beat. He also did Hallelujah from Jesus Piece, the Game album. Dope beat. He did the Grinder for Wiz Khalifa. So what I mean to say is like Jake One been around for a while, and he does have some dope production. So the production on this album, on the Freeway album, Stimulus Package 2, it's dope production, and it's like a vibe. You know what I mean? It's just a vibe, and I can appreciate that coming from Freeway. We all know he has a particular flow, and that's why I like Freeway, because of his flow is a little like it's past the margin. Like what Nas said back in the day, he writes past the margin. Freeway, his flow past the margin. So I like that flow. His tracks on the album that I do like, I like Time, the opening track with Conway. I like Keep Winning with Black Thought. That was a dope verse from him. I like Freezer. I like Ringing with Jadakiss. I like Crystals and Keys. I like Bearded Legend, and I like Surgery as well. Like Surgery is just like he's just talking about like what he's been going through in the last few years. If you follow Freeway, then like he's gone through a lot of real things. So just to hear him speak on that, to speak on he's had a lot of death in his family, etc., and things like that. So just to hear him speak on that from the perspective that he brings, it was dope, man, and it was refreshing. And it's like the vibe. This week when y'all listen to these projects, just get into the vibe, man. It's a dope vibe. So I was real pleased with the Freeway album. Um, and like I said, he's been dope for a while. Petey Crack is on there as well. Ring, Petey Crack. So you know what I mean. Check that out. Right? It's just it's dope vibe music. You know what I mean?
No doubt, no doubt. I'm gonna check that out tonight. So I got Childish Gambino to check out. I got Freeway. I got Ransom to check out.
Right.
Um, I did check out the Big Sean record.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I did check that out. Now I haven't been looking at the news or anything. To my first
Mm.
listen, I thought he was that a Kanye diss record.
You know what? I heard that he leaked something, but I didn't listen to the leak because I feel like if it's the leak, it's not what he intended. So I didn't listen to it because I was busy, you know, um, making my notes for what I was going to say about Big Sean. But I'm hearing good things though. Well, I mean,
No,
what are
I'm
you
saying I
saying?
think the Big Sean record. Yes, I think he was dissing Kanye on it.
Oh, yeah, I do think that he's kind of going that route into a diss of Kanye, and I'm not surprised. I understand that because if we remember when Kanye was on Drink Champs, Kanye said, I believe he said his worst decision was signing Big Sean, and I'm confused by that. Like, why would Big Sean be the worst decision that you made? It would seem to me that Big Sean would be a good decision. I mean, the man is a multi-platinum artist. He has the aesthetic of what a Kanye would be like. I'm talking about like early Kanye as far as his type of raps and the soul sample beats. If you go back to early Big Sean, he was killing those beats so much more, things like that. So you tomorrow. So I don't know what the problem is. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I
I'm
don't know. I don't know, man. But the
yeah.
record was dope, man. So what do you think about the other records that leaked?
I you know what? I can't even recall the record that I heard leak because I only heard one. But the record that I did hear, he was doing his thing. You know what I mean? I like Big Sean to me is he's a good balance of of a number of things that make you dope. He came out a long time ago, y'all. Sometimes we look at Big Sean is almost as like he's a child rapper or early 20s rapper or something like that. But Big Sean came out in 2010 and he may have hit the blogs maybe late 2009. And those first three mixtapes he did, the Finally Famous mixtapes, are dope mixtapes, man. Like they are really dope. Like so, I've always been a fan of Big Sean. Like I said, the song that I heard it was dope. He created the super duper flow. If y'all know what the super duper flow is, how many artists have run with that style? He created that style. You know what I mean? Like the super duper flow. I know if somebody in the chat, if y'all know what I'm talking about, thumbs up or something. But he created that, the super duper flow.
And Deuce Falco was gonna say this. He took my thought. I ain't
Mm,
biting Deuce Falco. I was just about to say that the Big Sean is in that Wale category. You know what I'm saying? He's in that tier of MC
okay.
and just didn't really quite break through. So you got a Wale, you got a Big Sean. I think you can throw ASAP Rocky in that category. Who else
Okay.
could we throw in there? Who else could we throw in? Those three
I
coming to
mean,
mind. You got ASAP
Wiz
Rocky,
Khalifa, maybe. You know what I
Wiz
mean?
Khalifa, maybe a Big Crit. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
those artists right there in that kind of that weight class. They're dope. They got a following, but they
Mm,
ain't really crack like that. Cause Big Sean's done some things. He had a Tiny Desk. he's had some records, but it just never really broke through like that. You maybe saw how the Prince, those
Oh,
MCs kind of lurk within that range. I would say I don't know. 2 Chainz fall in that category. I don't know. I think 2 Chainz might be
yeah, yeah,
ma-
he falls in there.
maybe in that category,
Yeah,
maybe a notch above. I don't know,
I
depending on
don't
who
think.
you're
See,
asking.
I disagree. Now I don't want to make numbers arguments because people will be like, well, you're talking about how many he sold, but if we're talking about artists that sell records, Big Sean is up there. Like he sold a lot of records, y'all. Like he's not Drake. He's not Kendrick Lamar. He's not he's a little bit under Cole, but he sold a lot of records and a lot of people in his weight class. I don't think that they can say that they have multi-platinum albums and stuff like that and multi-platinum singles and like Big Sean sold some records. And again, it's not all about selling records, y'all, but we know that the music industry holds that in high regard. And Big Sean, he's done that. He's had the hit records too. Like I Don't F With You. Uh he recently Logic, that another side comment, Logic new song Mission Control, fire, but he sampled Gucci Man and the Big Sean Super Duper Lemonade. So but Big Sean has sold records and he's a barsmith. So if you appreciate both, I don't know how you could be mad at Big Sean. Like, yes, he has goofy songs sometimes. Yes, he has goofy ad libs sometimes, and little like shooting my shot, like pew pew, hey, shooting my shot, like yeah, he can be a little, but he came in the game as like 20 years old. He was a young guy, so you know, I mess with Big Sean.
Right, right. Out of that tier, Big Sean, Wale, Crit, some would say Currency,
Yeah,
ASAP. I think Big Sean and Crit may be the most active of the bunch, but they still hadn't broke like that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
yeah, I'm not. I don't get excited when I hear about a Big Sean project. I think it's cool, but I'm like, all right. You know what I mean? It's nothing. I'm not gonna go and go see a Big Sean show. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna.
right,
I mean, if I'll go to cover it as a burgeoning hip hop journalist or to review it or to go check it out. But if I had like press passes or something like that,
right,
but I'm not gonna go to Live Nation or
yeah,
Ticketmaster or StubHub or what I'm saying, or
I get it.
SeatGeek and get some Big Sean tickets.
Yeah, and me
It's not me. You know what I mean?
Me neither. I think what happened to Big Sean is like when he came out, he was young. I was also young when he came out, so I'm relating to Big Sean when he first came out because I'm a little bit older than him at this time when he comes out. But I think he gave up a lot of his best material before his major debut came out. Like his major debut was Finally Famous. No ID did a phenomenal album with the beats on there. You got My Last, High, Live This Life, So Much More, What Goes On, My House, 100 Keys. About 50% or 45% of that album was pretty dope. There's some records that are obviously more catered to radio. Of course, you got the ass. But I think before that though is when I really kind of related to Big Sean because I was a big Pharrell and Kanye fan. So if you're a big Pharrell and Kanye fan, around that time, like if you remember when Pusha T's last album, he had both Kanye and Pharrell doing beats. So if you go back to the Finally Famous series, even though he's downloading a lot of beats from SoundClick or whatever, but he did have Pharrell on there and Kanye esque type of. Well, he had Kanye West production and Pharrell esque production, and he did a great job on those songs, y'all. Like he like the song "You." That's one of my favorite Kanye beats. I believe Kanye did that beat, if I'm not like so. Another song, $1 million, Get You Some. His first single to pop was Get You Some. It had a lot of fashion influence. Somebody liked the shirt. I actually got a matching hat that matches the color palette of this shirt. But I wear this hat for a reason. But he was just a fly dude, man. Like, and we like to undercut the cross between fashion and hip hop. But that crossing matters, especially when you're a young dude in your 20s. Like you dress to impress, and that in and with his first single, "Get You Some," that was dope. Final Hour, that was also dope. The intro to Finally Famous too, that is one of like the best intros I've heard on mixtapes, especially in that era. So I think he gave a lot of his best material when he was super young, and then after that, he's just trying to play the mainstream game, like the radio game. Stay current with the latest current flows, things like that. But if we go back to when he was just getting on, I think that's prime Big Sean, right there. You know what I mean? So that's me. But I understand if people don't get excited for that now, because that would be a similar reason why I really don't. I'm not super excited or nothing about Big Sean's release, only because I think we get a little bit spoiled too. Like if we expect somebody to be dope, like the Currency project, I expect it to be dope. So I wasn't really super excited because I know when I press play, it's probably gonna be dope. You know what I mean? So
Right. And it's
yeah.
a struggle. See in the numbers on all our platforms on X, and we got some announcements we're going to be making in the coming days on
Mm,
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Meta, Rumble. There's something called slow media weeks, or slow news weeks, and I'm not, no
yeah.
disrespect to these artists, because I think hip hop's important. I think it's important to talk about all sides of the spectrum, from the ones that are coming up, the new artists and the underground, independent artists, ones in the mainstream, the OGs. But it's a tricky dance, right? We could be one of those podcasts to have a show about Drake every week or every day, or we can do the hard work and we can talk about Currency, Big Sean,
Mhm. Yeah.
Wiz, Wale,
They matter.
Ransom, Logic,
Yeah.
we can, Denzel Curry, we can talk about things like that. So we try to, for the love of hip hop, we try to add variety. It could be easy. We could have got on here and talked about Drake again
Yeah.
and put Drake on the thumbnail, and or maybe another Kendrick show. But we try to dig for you, for the folks, because it is a core in hip hop. Hip hop has more than two artists, so we try to bring it to the people. But anyway, I digress. So who do you want to talk about
No,
next?
no, I would agree with you in that sense, because I know there's an audience out there that likes these other artists. Like I know when I bring up Currency that there's people out there that mess with Currency. It may not be like the most popular thing ever, but I know that it's y'all are out there. You may not be commenting in the chat, but I know y'all are out there. So I try to, cover as much as I can cover for y'all. But the Currency, I got it. This episode, more than anything else, I want to give Currency his flowers, man. Um, because I feel he's earned those flowers. Like if we talk about consistency, right? This man is consistently dope. If we talk about ear for beats, right? If y'all remember back in the day, he had the ski beats on the Pilot Talks. Currency's ear for beats is dope, man. You know what I mean? It's dope. It's like, and it caters to car culture, right? Shout out to DJ Fresh. He's from Oakland. But so car culture, meaning you're making music that it it is catered for the car experience or driving experience, the multiple speakers in the back, things like that. But so and lifestyle rap too, like current, like we talk about lifestyle rap, we associate it with like Rick Ross, right? Or Cash Money or something, like you're rapping lifestyle. It's lifestyle music. Well, Currency, in my view, is the same of that. Like that whole jet life, it started from Fly Society. Then he went into the jet life thing, but that's like lifestyle music. Like it's for the smokers, if you smoke, you know what I mean. He's a smoker, you know what I mean. Him and Wiz Khalifa, and it's like again. So you have the jet life, you have the car culture, you have the smoking culture, and when he's rhyming, he's really just trying to fit the vibe. He's trying to set a vibe, right? Like Drake has a vibe. Big Sean has a vibe. Rick Ross has a vibe. Currency, he's just trying to set a vibe when he raps. Now I do think people underrate his pen game, because I do think Currency is a dope lyricist also, but he's not always leaning on that like every single song. You know what I'm saying? Like for the most
Right,
part,
right.
he tries to set a vibe. When Stoned Immaculate dropped, everybody was saying they wasn't feeling the Stoned Immaculate. I thought the Stoned Immaculate was damn near classic. Um, Pilot Talks, Classics, Covert Coup, Muscle Car Chronicles, Cigarette Boats, New Jet City, Drive-In Theater, Winner's Circle, Spitter Andretti. This is not a mixtape. Like, yo, Currency has been dropping a lot of dope music for a very long time. Like about the same amount of time as a Big Sean, right? So I just want to give him his flowers. The new project was dope, man. It's dope project. I like There I Go, Pull Up and Hop Out, Blade with Jay Worthy, Fill in the Blanks, Bag Talk, and Spring Rolls. Um, what you call it? Fiend is on there too. If y'all remember from Fiend, he's on a couple tracks from No Limit from back in the day. The Fiend verses, I think they was cool, but they sound a little bit mailed in, like something with the mixing makes it sound like I know he melded in, right? But the songs is still dope, man. If you were of the entrepreneurial spirit, like I want to talk to people who are trying to make millions of dollars. If you got that kind of drive to where you're gonna put yourself out there to try to achieve such, then Currency speaks to that, not in the same way of a Nipsey Hustle, but just like his music creates a vibe that motivates you to go and get that bag, y'all. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that as a Jay fan, as a Nipsey fan, as you know, I appreciate Currency does that, and I want to give him his flowers because I don't hear that name a lot, but Currency is one of the most consistent, most prolific MCs with one of the best ears for beats. So I like the new album.
Yeah, and shout out to my other podcast partner, Vay. We did a show called The Underrated List. Y'all check it out if you haven't seen it yet. And he had Currency on his list. He said Currency is one of his favorite MCs in the last 10
Yeah.
years with the Pilot Talk series. And him being from New Orleans, it's that talk. It's that game spitter talk, right? It's that money talk. It's that motivational
Game
talk. You know, it's
spitter.
not gonna be more, it's not gonna be like intricate, you know what I'm saying, rhymes like that, but it's gonna be that straight talk. And that's where Currency is coming from. You know what I mean?
That's important. That's important because I'm from the Bay Area, right? So you got the Two Shorts, you got E40, you got Richie Rich, you got. So what am I talking about when I talk about these artists? Am I talking about like regular or the normal lyricism we're accustomed to? No, I'm talking about game spitting. Like E40 is a game spitter. What I mean by a game spitter is you're saying things that put people up on game. Like if there's a new anything that's new that you feel people might not know about, right? And you're wrapping it early. That's a game spitter, right? Or like somebody like in the Bay, if you say, okay, I got game, right? We're gonna test that game. We're gonna find the baddest chick in the club and say, okay, go see if you can get her phone number, because we want to see if you are a game spitter. And Currency, he spits game, man. That's a game spitter. Spitter and
Well,
ready, right?
I never had no problems, no challenges like that. I always walked
Right,
in with
right.
one, walked out with
Yeah,
two. You know what I mean? Oh, hopefully my wife is not listening. I'm so
right,
very
right.
sorry.
Yeah, we
I
know
only walked in with her and
back in the
walked
day.
out with her. I'm so sorry. So
But
sorry.
back in
Back
the
in the
day,
day. This
we
is
know.
like, back in the day, you know what I mean?
Back
I'm
in the
sorry, but
day. Yeah, but that's
all
that's
good.
part of hip hop. That's part of hip hop. Like you got the bars guys. They spit the hard bars. You got the gangster dudes. They got the gun bars. You got the money guys. And you got the game spitters. Like you know what I mean. So Currency, he falls in line with that and makes it sound effortless. You know what I mean? To
Hey,
great
Leroy,
beats.
is your mic messed up a little bit? This is me. My audio might be messed up.
I don't know. People in the chat, man, let me know. I hope I don't sound crazy out there.
People in the chat, can y'all hear Leroy? Is Leroy is it my audio?
I don't even know, but hopefully I'm good.
Let me know if
Yeah,
Leroy's breaking up. If Leroy sounds good, let me know so we can
for sure, for sure.
adjust.
for sure. But you know, but yeah, but I did enjoy the Currency album. So y'all check that out and just just tap into a vibe. There will be some albums that we discuss later on. Someone said I'm low, so I'll turn up a little bit. There will be some albums we discuss later on that will be really dense and lyrical heavy as far as content. We just had the samurai thing and all that with Lupe, but with Currency, it's more so like just a vibe, man. You just tapping into a vibe, just put it on and chill, you know what I mean? Or just put it on and ride, you know what I mean? I got to drive to LA pretty soon, so I'm gonna drive to LA. I'm gonna be playing this, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go to I'm supposed to go to a Rock Him listening event for his new album. So we 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 gonna see. Hopefully, I get to meet the God, man. But Currency, that's a game spitter, man. Dope project. You
Well, I'm gonna
know.
check it. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. But let me switch gears real quick. Hold on one second. There was speaking of somebody that's on that tier, we talked about Wale, we talked about ASAP, we talked about Currency, we talked about Big
Yeah.
Crit, talk about Big Sean. I would argue that Lupe is on that tier too, not from an ability standpoint, but where people perceive
Yeah.
him, the weight class, right? So
I can see that.
he put out something over the weekend. What did he put out? He put out a tweet saying
Mm.
that he thought Dame Dash made an announcement he's selling his share of Reasonable Doubt, and he thinks it should be sold. Let me pull up the joint.
Mm.
Long story long, he's saying that he thinks that Drake should buy the catalog. So let me pull it up, and then I want to get your thoughts on this. So your initial thought when you read this, Leroy, what did you think?
Well, I'm hearing about it. I did hear some statements that were made by Lupe that had to do with Kendrick. I didn't really hear anything that had to
What did you hear about Kendrick?
just the normal stuff. Just somebody had said that Drake is not a part of hip hop, and Lupe was just saying like, yeah, Drake is actually a part of hip hop. So people got all in their feelings. How could you say that? I don't think it was that deep. He was just saying that yeah, Drake is actually part of the culture. I mean, we don't have to like it, but he's been out for about 15 years. He's made a lot of jams, so come on, we know Drake, man. He wasn't trying to people, people that try to say he's jealous of Kendrick, but Lupe doesn't strike me as someone that would be jealous of Kendrick because there's the music and then there's the music business. Um, in the music business, sometimes you don't reach the same plateau as another artist. And I think Lupe just knows that. I don't think that not everybody is going to be number one. Like, because it's number one, you know what I'm saying? It's no guarantee that you are going to be number one. So I don't think Lupe is jealous of a Kendrick Lamar.
So
Um,
this is what he
yeah,
put up on. This is what he put up. He said this to Drake. He
okay.
said Drake will keep it safe. Oh, what happened to it? Hold on. I need to let me get it right. Let me get it right. Technical difficulties. I'm still not 100%, guys, so bear with me.
Oh, take your time, man. Take your time.
I'm not on my A game like I normally am. But anyway, uh at Drake. Drake will keep it safe for generations to come. This is grail and influence an innumerable amount of rappers. To see it peddle such a lack of grace generally hurts my feelings a little, but on a savage ish effort, either
Mm,
donate it to museums for safekeeping or seriously let Drake make an offer so he can put it where it needs to be, or just give the
mm,
ish to OG so we can be infinitely proud of this. Without it, there's no me, and I am sure other MCs will agree. That's Lupe saying Drake
yeah.
should buy the third of Reasonable Doubt to safeguard it and keep it in the
Mm,
culture. Interesting.
okay. Okay. My thoughts on that is if why would I want something that belongs to Jay-Z? Like, I don't want Jay-Z's material because I'm not Jay-Z. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I could take that material, um, find a way to license it or try to make money off it, but I don't want another man's stuff. Like now for other people, if you want that, hey, more power to you. But I don't know why you would want something that belongs to Jay-Z. Like Wouldn't you just like
well, it could be looked at as a business move, like music, like Michael
okay,
Jackson. Michael Jackson owned like the Beatles catalog. He owned
right,
a lot of people's catalogs, right? I forgot some other artists' catalogs he owned, right?
mhm,
So artists own other people's stuff historically, they own their masters, their
yeah,
recordings.
yeah,
And Drake seems to be like a hip hop collector, right? He's got Tupac's chain. There's word circling. He purchased a vehicle. The
okay,
Pac got hit that night. He's buying. He bought Pharrell's chains.
right,
It's a thing that Drake does. But
yeah, okay,
and Lupe could be trolling a little bit. He could be trying to enter himself into some type of back and forth with Kendrick. I can see that because it's just a
right,
random thought. Like, why even interject in it? And what he's saying, well, look, I think he will safe keep it. He'll save this for the culture. He's
mm,
kind of taking a subliminal without taking a subliminal on
okay.
at K. That's the way I read it. I could be reading it too deeply. I don't know. Let
No,
me know in the chat if I'm tripping.
I see what you're saying though. I see what you're saying. Yeah, but it's just like for me personally, like if you own the Beatles catalog, like the Beatles is completely, I mean it's not completely different, but it's very different. The money that I'm gonna make off the Beatles catalog is very substantial. The money I'm gonna make on Reasonable Doubt, I'd rather just give that to Jay. Like, yes, I'm gonna make some money off it, but chances are I could make that money without it. Like, it's not going to be something that's so substantial for me that I need this part of his catalog. Like the times have changed, y'all. Like music streaming, it's not even worth a penny. There are other things that you can license songs out, like you have maybe like Reasonable Doubt, and it plays into a mafia type of ethos. How many mafia movies or TV shows or commercials are coming out?
But I mean, but it's always good to own it, Leroy, because it's
Yeah,
worth.
yeah, no, no, I get it,
Yeah,
I
because
get
the
it.
folks that own Apple Music and Spotify
Yeah,
and all the
yeah,
publishing companies, they making a grip off this money. Because you got to think,
okay,
even the free tier, even if you have a free tier of Spotify, and you get the ads or whatever, they're selling those ads. You know what I'm saying? So they're making
right,
money. So the artist may not be seeing the money, but that music is still valuable. So I
yeah,
think so he'll make a lot of money if he owns piece of the Reasonable Doubt catalog. If you stream that album 46 million times a month, those pennies add up to dollars for the rest of his life. He can pass that on to
yeah.
his children. Like forever and a day, when you play Reasonable Doubt, Drake will make money. So
Drake is already a very wealthy
but you
human
are,
being.
but just people
You
you
know what I
have
mean?
money,
Yeah,
and I don't have any money. But if I had some
right.
money, I always want some more money.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
you
No,
never,
you,
you
yeah,
never, because you can take that money and do something else with it. So
yeah.
money is you always want more money, because if you don't get more
Of
money, you
course,
run out.
of
You run
course.
out. You know what I mean?
I don't know how much money Reasonable Doubt is making in 2024. Like, if somebody does, they can inform me. I wouldn't think that it's making so much money that it's going to do something for me that is substantial.
Let me
Uh,
see. I'm gonna look on Spotify and see how many times it's been played. Hold on.
yeah, but I mean, I'm cool with it either. If it was me, I would find a way to get Jay his own material because, again, like I don't want that man's material. That's Jay. He made that. I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, but I can't knock the entrepreneurial spirit. If people feel like they want to have it, and it is art. And if Dame feels like he wants to sell it, I understand. You know what I mean? But and like people saying sell it to Nas, but like sell it to Nas for what? Like you think what? Like Nas doesn't want that. Like Nas wants his music. He doesn't want somebody else's music. I mean, again, you could kind of look like people look at it as, oh well, if we get his music, it'll send a shot to Jay Z. Like, do y'all really think Jay cares? Like, you really think Jay is waking up like, oh, I really care what other people are doing? Like,
Right.
I
Right.
don't.
I couldn't find specifically. Spotify, but I said Last FM
Mm,
album attracts 1,900 listens per day.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
just on Last FM. I don't know if anybody has Last FM or what that is. I don't use it,
Yeah.
but 1,900. Let's say 1,900 per day times
Okay.
365. Hold on, let's see. Just doing some math here.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a check. You know what I mean? It's several checks. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's moving the needle for Drake. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I ain't seeing no real money on it. You know,
yeah,
yeah, about
it's
60,
like
60,
that album came out in '96, y'all. Do you really think that people are like, oh, I gotta go get that new Reasonable Doubt? Like, I I don't know, man. Now you could if you really know what you're doing, it's like Lupe. He had this discussion back in the day as well. He was talking about Leor Cohen, and he was saying that Leor Cohen told him because Lupe is the type of person he refuses to sign stuff. You know what I mean? And a lot of people think Lupe is losing. Lupe is not losing, man, because he didn't sign a lot of them contracts that these other artists sign. So when Lupe gets his check in the mail, it's substantial because he didn't sign away all his stuff. So, but he was talking to Leor, and Leor Cohen was like, "Well, if I gave you your masters, what are you gonna do with it?" So basically, what he was saying was, you can have your masters, right? But you got to know how to work your masters too. Like you got to have relationships with Hollywood, relationships with TV, relationships with radio, relationships with YouTube and the streaming service. If you don't have these relationships, then you're really playing yourself because you know what I mean? Go I can't hear you, Ron.
That's like the argument. If I give you a check, what you gonna do with it? Well, that ain't none of your business. Give me my check, and I'll figure out what to do with it. And I can. You don't. The
That
same relationship. You don't know my
check
ability to
is
know what
different.
type of relationships. You know what I mean?
A check is different. Like when we're talking about audio material, like if you want your song to be in the new Deadpool movie, right? You have to know somebody that works on the Deadpool movie. If you don't know nobody, then you got to go through an agency that is connected with the Deadpool movie, and it's like you have to be connected, is what I'm saying, to make your masters make sense. Now, granted, you could wait on it, you could hold it, you could do your own side business, but sometimes the label already has better relationships than you do. So it's like you're getting a bigger check by keeping your masters there. You know, I wouldn't suggest it, but we all know the game. We know a lot of our first contracts we signed to the label because it was our first contract. It wasn't a partnership. It was, okay, this is my first deal. So we know the game. A lot of that material, you might make more money leaving it there than you would make if you put it in your own hands if you don't have connections. Because if you don't have connections, who are you selling? Who are you licensing your music to? Is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, if you got dope enough music, they'll find you. It's not. You know what I'm saying? It's
True.
not like. It's not like who's an artist. It's like I'm pretty sure "Pump It Up" by Joe Budden, well, maybe on some like old school, like high school flicks, the nostalgic.
Yeah.
They're doing like a scene from like in the 2000s. Pump it up. And that might have some value, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if they want to use it in the film, they can reach out and he get paid. It don't take Leor to hold on to it for that
Well,
transaction to happen. That's all I'm saying.
I just had if y'all remember the Jacka, man, the Jacka was a friend of mine. He was killed he was killed in Oakland a long time, but he's a Bay Area legend. I was watching a movie yesterday called Abigail. You know, I'm a horror flick guy. So I'm watching this horror flick, and in the background of one of the scenes, I'm hearing the Jacka. And I'm like, okay, hey, but this is almost 20 years after the fact. You know what I mean? So it's like you can hold on to your material, y'all, but you just got to know how to work it. I would. It's always great to own your stuff. In the case of Jay-Z and Drake, or Dame, or Cam, or Mace, I would give Jay his material, man. You know what I mean? Because if
I
I'm
got
all
it. I got not to cut you off, Leroy,
yeah,
but I just had an idea that came from the heavens.
okay,
And these ideas only come once in a blue moon. Well, actually, no, I'm a very spiritual guy, so they come from the heavens quite often.
right, right,
I
right.
just I want to. What if we own the catalog? What if I did a GoFundMe,
Okay,
right? And then for According to Hip Hop, all of our people, you know what I'm saying, all
Mhm.
our day ones, people that's been tapped in with us since 2010. And we raised the money. I hit Dame up. I say, yo, Dame, man, I want to buy it. I want to buy a third of Reasonable Doubt. We want to buy it.
Right.
We got 30 days to raise. He gives me this number. I'll put the number on GoFundMe. We raise it and we all own it. How about that? What if we do that? Would that be a good idea? You think he'll sell it to us? I think he would.
I, well, I'm tapped in, so I could make something pop with that. I'm already tapped in. But for the average Joe, they may have to figure out a way, to do that. But it just depends. It just depends on what you can do. You know what I mean? And Drake has a collector spirit, so I understand for us to do that. Um, it could be good and it could be a little dicey because we're also going to get a phone call from, I'm sure, someone who represents Jay, and they're going to be like, "What are y'all doing with that, man? What are y'all planning to do with that?" You know what I mean? So it's like I got to figure out what to do with that material. I'm gonna whatever I do with it is gonna be dope. I'm gonna do something dope, but I got to figure out what it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think we might need to pump our brakes a little bit, man. We can't even get our festival funded, man. I don't think we can buy real. But you can think though. You can
Hey,
dream.
hey,
Damn.
man,
Damn.
we can get it popping. I heard that again. Going sidestep Logic. He had a new beat. I'm gonna go ahead and after I get off here, I gotta lace that. So I may trying to just start turning it up myself, but um, it's moves you can make. You know what I mean? I rock with Logic, by the way. I know a lot of people in this space don't rock with him. I think he's a dope rapper, man. But for as far as Jay-Z's catalog, it just depends. And I'm a little disappointed in Dame. But I don't know Dame like that. I don't know his relationships like that. But it seems like some of the stuff he does is kind of spiteful, maybe. And it's why be spiteful at this stage in life? I understand. Like we all have people that we did business with back in the day, like 20 years ago, where the business didn't quite go as well as we would have liked it to go. But if you're still holding on to that grudge, it's like you gotta let it go, brother.
Well, Leroy, let's not say too much. We don't know because we're gonna
Yeah,
give
I don't know.
we're gonna give Dame a phone call, and I want to
Okay.
ask him what the number is. And then if he tells me a number, he could be like, you know what, I'll
Right.
sell it for $3 million. We're gonna
Okay.
do a GoFundMe, and
Right.
I know you guys don't give us $30 of super chats every show, so this is gonna be a tough stretch of the imagination and think that we're gonna come up with $3 million. But we
Hey.
can we can hire a PR agency. It could be like the little engine that could, and if we get it, it'll be a big win for According to Hip Hop, and then you know we'll
Yeah.
be light years ahead of all the other people that's in our space, quote unquote, the
Hey.
space, the proverbial space, the rap roundtables, the other shows. We'll
Well,
have a piece of
yeah.
the catalog. At least if we can get Dame on the phone, that'll
Hey.
even put us in a different space. If he just gives us a number and we can do it, but it's going to take. I have my doubts because we only get like what, like $13 in super chats per show. So three
Hey.
million, 3 million is going to be a stretch. But but miracles have happened,
Yeah.
and I
What
will
I would
continue to
do
be positive about it.
off the top of my mind right now, like recently we heard the Marsha Ambrosia album. She flipped a lot of old school samples, stuff like that. So I would take that Reasonable Doubt project, I would chop it up. I would chop it. I'm on my Dilla chop. I would chop that thing up and I would make new beats. I would make new songs. I would have new artists over those beats. I would have those beats playing over intros. I would have those beats in movie previews. I would have those beats in the background of commercials. I would go to Netflix and have those songs playing on Netflix episodes and things like that. So I would bubble it. Like I would make it crack. But you got to be able to know what you're gonna do with that material. Is the moral of the story I'm trying to talk about. You know what I mean? So that's all.
All right, so we'll stay tuned. We'll keep you guys posted and let you guys
Right?
know. Another crazy news. A lot of main. I've been watching the news since I've been sick. That's all you can do, and I feel like an old man because all you watch is like I'm on the couch and you have the
Oh, yeah.
you have the remote. I can control it with my voice, but I didn't really want to
Right.
do so. My phone locks up, and then I couldn't find my other phone broke. So I've been stuck on these damn mainstream news
Right.
channels. So you got so Family Feud pops up. I feel like a grandfather, right? So anyway, um, this popped up the other day. We did a post on Facebook.
Mm.
They polled 100 people on Family Feud, and this is a list of the greatest rappers of all time. I thought it was very
Yep.
interesting. What say you, Leroy?
Okay, we got Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Eminem, Dr. Dre. So
This is in
I don't.
order. This is in order. So
Okay,
Tupac was number one.
but
Oh
they got
no,
two. They got two threes up there. They got 50 Cent at 3 and
well they
Dre.
were they were tied. They were tied.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I don't got a problem with it. Dr. Dre, he's not one of the greatest rappers of all time. If you want to say producers, yeah, but rappers. Um, yeah, they're naming the ones that people would name. 50 Cent is arguable to me. If people told me that 50 Cent was one of the greatest in their opinion, I wouldn't shit on their opinion. Like I can appreciate that opinion, but one of the greatest is a tall order. And even though 50 Cent is super dope, I don't know if one of the greatest, if that's something that he is. But he is super dope though. You know what I mean? But I can't hear you, Ron. Yeah.
I so wonder where did they poll these people? They probably polled them at maybe a Denny's in
All right.
Fayetteville, North Carolina or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a loaded question. Who are the greatest? And a lot of people, we call people casuals, right? I think a lot of people are casuals. I think people in this space are casuals. I think there's a lot of people that listen to just whatever's popular at the time. They're not diggers. Like they're not digging. Like back in the day, I spent so many hours digging for new music in the store. Like it was just ridiculous. Like and this it's not a lot of people like that. Somebody coming out the store with 20 different albums, every week and stuff like that. It's not too many people that's like that. You know what I mean? So it's like you have casuals and you got the heads. But of course, I'm not going to argue with Jay, Big, Pac, uh, even an M. I wouldn't say. If somebody told me M was one of the greatest, I don't have to agree, but I get I get the logic behind what you're trying to say. You know what I mean? So
Right. These people were like 100 people exiting a Waffle House in Rome, Georgia. So
okay.
I mean, probably, this is what you're gonna get. But
Right,
interesting fact that, Tupac is still was number 2 on the list. So
right.
it's interesting. But you know what? I'm a little sick, guys. I wanted the show to keep going a little bit because I want to make a couple of announcements at the end. I want to open up the phone lines. You guys want to chime in on any of the new music you heard, anything else on your mind? I'm gonna open it up. We'll get started.
Yeah, but and the Denzel Curry too. Listen to that Denzel Curry, Ron, because I think you'll like that. I think you'll like that, man.
Why you say that, Leroy? Why you think I'm gonna like that joint?
Only because you've mentioned just the Memphis sound, like the 3 6 Mafia sound, and that sound has it is a sound. They have their own sound, they got their own flow, they got their own way of doing beats and doing hooks and things like that. So Denzel Curry, his whole album is right in that lane, like it's right there, like in that 3 6 Mafia. He's from Florida, but he's right there in that lane. So you know what I mean? I
Right.
think you'll rock with that. You know what I mean? It
The
was slap.
line, the lines are open. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. We can talk about,
Yep.
um, we can talk about things that we shouldn't talk about. You
I,
know,
we can go there. I'll
pre-
keep
pre-
it light on y'all. I'll keep it very
presidential
light.
candidates that like Pac in
I'll keep it
college.
very light.
No, presidential candidates that like Pac to listen to Tupac in college, and
Yeah.
Tupac didn't even have a record out when they were in college. Things like that,
Right.
funny things like that. So, uh, hip
I think.
presidential candidates that were actually on hip hop records to Cal 2000. You know,
Yeah.
So
I
we can
mean,
talk, we can talk about
I
that.
think regardless of how you fall right now, there's hot and cold. You have people that are turn up the heat. What I mean by turn up the heat is like turn up the rhetoric, and you have people that will cool it to try to cool off the rhetoric. Right? Not too many of those. I think for this election, charisma is important. If you lack charisma, if you lack and if you lack the language that can make people relate to you, right? Like I have people that don't agree with me politically, but the way we do relate is I say, okay, I got kids, you got kids, boom, that relates right there, right? I bleed red blood, you bleed red blood. I put on pants one leg at a time, you put on pants one leg at a time. So if you can relate to someone, it has to be a charisma there that even if they don't agree with you, they can still agree with your main points. And I think that's going to come um, into key. So we're either going to turn up the rhetoric or turn it down. Unfortunately, I think America's gonna turn it up. But either way, you know what I mean. Either way, you know what I mean.
Uh, yeah, it's just it's all a game. It's all theater. It's all It's
You
interesting.
know,
It's like watching a stage play, man. But it's just funny seeing in social media people getting all worked up like this. Is like, oh, I'm in
hey man,
formation. I'm in formation. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, this is just insane.
and that's what I mean with like last week when we were talking about it. I said I've noticed like I've heard um civil war be mentioned a lot, and I don't think people should. When you say that, I take you serious, but it's like I can't take you serious because I don't know if you're being serious. Like so, I think the rhetoric that's being used. I think either people need to be serious about that rhetoric or kind of not be serious. Because you're saying serious rhetoric. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but
So
like I said,
let me tell you what's going to happen. This is how it's going to go from the hip hop community. You're going to have shout out to Kodak Black. You're gonna have Kodak Black, Lil Wayne. You're gonna have Trippy Red or Little Pump going to
okay,
rallies. You're gonna have Megan Thee Stallion doing and Cardi B doing a twerk off and with old girl. They're gonna be dancing and whatever.
right,
You're gonna have some Breakfast Club interviews happening. Saying I listen to Megan Thee Stallion's my favorite. You're gonna hear what else? You're gonna
yeah,
hear
you're gonna hear those things,
Amber Rose is going rapper Amber Rose is gonna pop
Shout out
out
everybody, right,
and do a freestyle with a red hat on, and my red hat doesn't mean anything, guys, so don't read it, don't read it. I just like and
right, right,
the T doesn't mean anything either. Well,
right, right.
it
I
could
think
Texas.
yeah, I think in hip hop we vote along the lines based upon who our family members vote for. Like I think we get around the kitchen table at family events and we talk about politics and we see where the table is at. Like who is grandma and grandpa going for? Who is uncle and auntie? Who's mom and dad? So and after we hear their plight, we kind of fall in line, which I don't have a problem with. As far as hip hop's involvement in the political sphere, um, I don't like to feel like I'm being used, right? But then at the same time, I know that there's a power in the influence of hip hop, right? So I think we should control that power. Like if someone is telling me I'm in this race and I need you to back me up in this race because if you back me up, I could win. Well, what you're telling me is my influence is important for your victory. Well, if that is the case, well then what am I going to get from my influence? Like what and I think that's a question that hip hop should ask itself. And should ask itself, are you looking at me as a person of integrity, as of respect, or are you looking at me as some kind of just way for you to win and you just want to win and then we're never going to speak again after you win? So I think these are valid questions that should be asked. Again, I whatever way you vote or whatever side you lean on, it really doesn't matter to me, right? I don't really care that deep to where I'm hating on someone else that thinks differently from me. But in this particular circumstance with Kamala, I do think whoever she picks as vice president, and just going forward, charisma is important. Race language is important. What I mean by race language is knowing how to articulate similarities, right? Like I said, we could have differences, but we all love our family, right? That would be a common denominator. So when I'm speaking to someone that disagrees with me, I can pull them into what I'm saying by mentioning the family, by mentioning we all want to prosper, we all want peace, we all want. So I'm just interested in seeing the charisma and the language put forward. That's about it. I won't keep my hopes too high because unfortunately, what I see is just a lot of just senseless talk in my view. But for hip hop, I think hip hop should weigh its influence on a scale and really understand what our influence is. I don't think hip hop understands the power of its influence. Its influence is very, very high. Hip hop can get people to agree with us, or it can get engagement, meaning if people hate you so much, they're still engaging with you, right? It's like people they want to hate on me, right? Well, I don't care because your hate is still engagement. So it's like hip hop, you're gonna have people that love hip hop, that love the artist, that love the influence. You're gonna have people that hate hip hop, hate the artist, hate the influence. But both of these things still put weight on the hip hop scale. So we got to ask ourselves, like, if hip hop is going to be involved, well, what do we get out of it? And I think that's a serious question because I think nothing is what you get out of it. And that's what we don't want to say. What we get out of it is nothing, a big nothing. So.
Well. I don't know. We'll talk about that another time. Somebody in the chat said, Manuela Flow X, yeah, man, I appreciate your homies. How much for a promo though? Help a South African ninja promote his music. We got you, man. Send us the info at info at accordingtohiphop.com, info at the number 2 hiphop.com, and we'll give you a rate and get you on, man. Just don't send it. We're not doing no Western Unions, no. I ain't trying to, I know you from South, we ain't people shout out to the motherland. We ain't doing no Western Unions or we ain't doing no cash apps. But we're gonna send you the information. It's a joke, so don't take it. I'm just
I know
joking
what
with
you
you.
mean. Yeah.
Man, let's get Mad Max in here. But one thing though, I do like that Cardi B joint that came out with Rob 49 on the money.
Okay.
It's something about, and it's a guilty pleasure. I like those ratchet. I mean, I don't get up in I don't my kids,
I know what you mean.
but I like that. That was a really ratchet verse on the money. It was very visual, and she was. Y'all check that out. I kind of,
Yeah.
I kind of dug that record. I
I
don't
am
like, on the money. Okay, I
I
get you.
am yeah, I am mad at Cardi because Cardi is who she is. She's not faking the funk. She's always been who she is. I can appreciate, that there is a ratchet side to everybody, or to me at least. So I can appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
She wild with it. I like. It's kind of she wild with it. Mad Max was good, brother.
What's
So
good, y'all?
what's good? Mad Max.
We
You
gotta
good?
talk. We gotta talk about the lies that was done on Wednesday. All right,
O-
I'm not even a Biggie guy, but
Okay.
when you have dudes telling you Outlaws off Me Against the World is better than Unbelievable, we gotta take hip hop cards. That has to be
Hey,
taken, bro.
you said it. You said it, not me. But yeah, I agree. I agree. But
That
I,
was
I think I think Pac's music pulls on the heartstrings, and I'm not mad at that. You know what I mean? It pulls on the heartstrings, man. You know what I mean? Biggie is good for just he makes dope music. You know what I mean? Biggie makes dope music, or he made dope music. But Pac, he does pull on people's heartstrings, man, because you know it is what it is.
I love Pop, but come on, Me Against the World is better than Ready to Die. Yeah, come on, man. We gotta be for
It,
real, bro. We gotta be for real. I
it
I love Pop, but come on.
it could be close though. That even that, like Me Against the World versus Ready to Die, I do think that's still close though. Like I kind of will probably lean a little bit more to Ready to Die, only because a lot of those beats I like those beats at the time. I like the delivery at the time, but it is very close though too because Pac wasn't too far away from that in my view. So I can see it going both either way. You know what I mean? Either way, like you know. But I hear you though. It's close. It's Biggie and Pac, man. You know what I mean? It's gonna be close, Mad Max. Either way.
I mean, no, I agree with All Eyes on Me over Life After Death. That's a fact. But
Okay.
me against, I like Me Against the World, but Me Against the World is too much. It's too
Mm,
much misery rap. It's too much. Shed so many tears, death around the corner. Too much
right.
pouring out lip. It's too much. These black people. It's like eyewitness news. Like every day you seen a black person down in the news rap. That's all it is, bro. He got old school, which is dope,
Yeah.
but it's too much of the same thing. At least on Ready to Die, Biggie was mixing it up, man. He was hitting you with some funny shit, then he hitting you with
Yeah.
gutter stuff. Like it was mixing it up. I mean, I can't. Nah,
No,
not
I
Me
no,
Against the World.
I get that, and it can be it can be tough at times. Like there was a rapper that was just killed out here, in Oakland. You know what I mean? She was just murdered out here. So it's like, do we really want to hear that type of energy all the time? Pac spoke to that energy, but it was in a very genius way though. Like I gotta give Pac his credit for it. He put it in a context where it was genius though, and Big had his own genius too. I mean, we're dealing with two genius level rappers, so it's like if you go left or right, either way you go, it's gonna be a dope rap. It's gonna be a dope MC. So what you want to do? You know what I mean?
All
So
right, but this guy's still here. Is talking about it's called grown folks music. That's not grown folks music.
right,
I'm respectfully. I love Pac, but
right.
you know, when we talk about negative content, if track one is if I should die tonight, track two is death around the corner, track three is so many tears. That's not. You can't just hit me with negativity after negativity after negativity
I
because
agree.
at the
Hey,
end of the
one thing,
that nobody wants to
one
hear
thing,
that all damn day. That's not
one.
grown.
I
That's
look.
not being grown.
My generation is the Pac generation. What I mean by that is we were in the line to buy these records when they came out. Like Me Against the World, All Eyes on Me. Who was in the line to buy those records? Me, our generation. And to be honest with you, what's never discussed is a lot of people in my generation was worried about Pac. Like when we heard these records, we was like, hold on, like is something gonna happen to Pac? Like that was our first that was a lot of people's first thought, only because he's rapping about that. So when we hear the records, we're like, hold on, like is somebody trying to kill Tupac? Like so that made it for a listening. Sometimes sometimes we check that. Like I'll be honest with you, sometimes I didn't want to hear the Pac record because the thought of somebody killing Tupac in my mind was too far. Like was going too far. But he kept saying it to the point to where it was like it did make it tough sometimes. Like when it came out, granted, I'm a young dude. I'm in my early teen years. I still want to have fun. So I'm listening to records that are fun. Like to me, like I'm listening to Redman. I'm listening to EPMD. I'm still at that age where even Crisscross was recently still popping. I'm listening to LL. I'm listening to things that are fun sounding. And so to contrast to that, it was tough, y'all. And that's never discussed in hip hop. Like when Pac released an album, if it made you feel like happy for him or if it made you feel worried for him, I never hear that discussion. And I could tell you firsthand, there were people in the streets like, yo, man, tell your man Pac to chill, man. Like I'm because in the Bay Area, it's people that knew him. I didn't know the man, but there are people that knew him. So there was people out there like, yo, next person that sees Pac, tell him to chill, man. He gotta chill because he's saying things that could become real. You know what I mean? So
My thing, Leroy, is and still here. You going on in the chat, but bro, what you not hearing me? Because like you talking about grown folks music. Grown folks talk about getting bills or what they have to do to feed their family. Grown folks aren't just holding on to whatever's like. I'm not saying Tupac's not supposed to speak on that type of topics. I
right,
like those type of topics, but your whole album is that topic, and then two songs, Temptation and Old School, are the only time you break away. I mean, come on, man. We gotta keep
right,
it for real, bro. I'm not saying, and I like Me Against the World. I'm not saying it's a whack album or it's not a
right.
classic. I think it is a classic, but when you're talking about just as an album, you go through it. I mean, things done change has as much as a concept record, basically, that's as just as important with certain grown folk talk as the
Right.
same as If I Should Die Tonight. You guys still took If I Should Die Tonight. Like, you don't think that's something wrong with a lot of you guys' mentality in the chat? You low key dealing with low level depression. Because if everything is death, you're going to lose your mind. It's like when you watch Eyewitness News. Every time you flip Eyewitness News, or
Right.
well, I live in an area we call Eyewitness News, and you go and you flip it, and it says this person died in the Bronx, this person died in Mount Vernon, this person died in Yonkers, this person died here. You're like, damn. And it's
Yeah.
all
No,
black people. It's like, all right, bro, can we get something, a feel good story to break it up? That's why old school is so powerful.
I
That's why
say
you
that
guys like
all the
old school.
time. I be saying all the time, like, why doesn't the news tell you about people that's doing great in life? Like, why do they always tell you about, well, this person was murdered, that murder, this murder, that murder, but they don't tell you about people that's doing good? Like, why does the news have then? And so that is a factor. Like, and Biggie, even though he wasn't like trying to be super deep, he did speak to a time that we're familiar with. Like, Biggie was talking about the late 80s, early 90s. If you was outside and in them years, you can see what Biggie was talking about was real. Like, you could see it because it was right there in your face. You know what I mean? So
Well, Biggie did have some questionable lyrics, like on What's Beef.
talk about it. Oh
I
yeah.
think
Oh, that
I
that
think
was
I
crazy.
think he's trying to be dark, but he's
Yeah,
like, then he's what's the other song he had?
that was
With
crazy.
Dead Wrong was crazy,
Biggie had some wild lyrics. Biggie, I think he said money and blood don't mix, like two pieces and no chick. Find yourself caught. That was ridiculous. I don't even know why he thought of that.
So
That's
some of Biggie's lines are quite on the verge of demonic and kind of dark. And once you get into that territory, I kind of be like, but that's why
Yeah,
as I got older, you caught me maybe 10 years ago, I'm like Biggie, 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 Biggie. Because I used to, I mean, I went on a field trip. I had to be about, man, I want to say about maybe 10 years old. And I had to
still
like,
here,
I,
still here. You know that Pac rapped about harming children too.
I had to diss
Before make
man.
sure your whole kids won't grow. I mean, these dudes, both of them said questionable stuff. I mean, let's
yeah. I
not
mean,
act like
they was young dudes,
Let me
y'all.
finish
They
my
was young.
story. Let me finish my story real quick. But I had the Walkman, I had the Discman, and I went to Sam Goody, and I got the Hypnotize single. And I think the B side of that was I got a story to tell. And I went on a field trip because I was in the band. And
Right.
I think I played that record on repeat. I think I broke my Discman. I think I played it for like 3 hours straight because I liked the beat. I think who did that beat? Chucky Thompson was on that production, one of the hitmen or whatever. But I was just like, no doubt. I memorized the skit at the end, like the kind of the outro. Um, but yeah, Biggie was my guy. But as I got older, in my 20s, 30s, I found myself when I'm getting on long road trips, or if I'm on the airport and if I'm on a plane, I might put on some pot. It just sounds different. The music sounds different to me now than
Mm,
it does back then. Like Jay-Z. I was the biggest Jay-Z guy. I told people I was in 7th grade that Jay-Z was gonna be the biggest rapper in the world. They laughed at me. So that big lip dude with Foxy, I was like, I'm telling you, man, Jay-Z was gonna be the next one. I told people when Kanye was at V103 with To Live Quietly, I said, and I saw it through the wire, he was freestyling on V103. I think a lot of that footage is on that Netflix documentary. I was like, this guy's gonna be a star. They laughed at me. Oh man, with the crazy looking jaw, with the crazy teeth. And I was like, this guy's gonna be something. And it turned out I was 2 for 2. But as I get older, I listen to Jay less than I listen to Kanye, but I find myself listening to more Pac, more Nas, still listen to Ye. Because I was in Nashville and I was in like at the hotel and I walked in randomly and this hotel is playing like country music. It's playing like smooth jazz, and they play that joint on graduation on Everything I'm Not Makes Me Everything I Am with Primo doing the scratches. I'm
right.
like, damn, that's kind of like a random shit to hear. Like out of all the hip hop
Yeah.
songs they played, out of all the Kanye West songs they play Everything I'm Not Makes Me Everything I Am. I'm like, Kanye is a different type of artist that can connect with people from Nashville to overseas. So I say that to say, as we get older, our styles change. And ironically, as I get old, I listen to more 50, which is crazy. And 50 has a lot of violent lyrics,
I
but
can't listen to 50.
I listen to 50. I go back to the Return of the Body
Ron,
Snatchers mixtapes, man. It's just
Ron,
me. It's just me, man.
Ron,
You know?
50 will
Ron,
make me 50 will make me crack somebody's egg. Like
Ron.
if
You
I
know what's
listen to
crazy?
50 before I go out, like 50 will make
Ron,
me crack somebody's egg. You know. But you know, Biggie was young. I think a lot of it was shock value. A lot of it was a character. Remember, Biggie is rapping as Frank White. Frank White is a notorious mob boss. So it's like, but he did have a lot of crazy lyrics. But I think anybody, if somebody says, "Hey, you said this when you were 20, you said this when you were 22," I think a lot of it would sound crazy if people
you know what?
told
You
you
know
what
what's
you
crazy,
said when you were 21. You
Leroy? You know what's crazy? In the chat, I always say Pac is my favorite rapper, right? And
Yeah,
people are talking about I'm hating on Pac. I'm not hating on Pac. What you dudes are doing in the chat is standing him. I love Pac. That's my favorite
right.
rapper. Him and Nas. I never changed. I never switch on that point. But my only thing is when you talk about Me Against the World in particular, that is an album very circular around one point of perspective where he breaks it up maybe once or twice. It's not better than Ready to Die.
Yeah,
You could talk about depravity and all that other stuff. There's no way Outlaws is a better rap song than Unbelievable. It's just ridiculous. Like if we're gonna talk, let's talk with sense. Because that was fanning. That wasn't like being objective. You're a Tupac fan, cool, or you're a Tupac stan. You're not a hip hop fan. If you because I listen to Pac more than I listen to Biggie. I'm Biggie like that. I listen to Pac more. I listen to Nas more than I listen to Pac now. It doesn't change the fact that good
I
music is
think
good. I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you, I think uh, whatever newest Nas song is better than Tupac's Ambition of a Rider. Like I'm not gonna do that.
Right,
yeah.
right.
I'm just
As somebody in the chat said, we need to do a MJ versus Prince. We're gonna do that. I know they did one last year.
We did that.
Mike's the big, but Coop did it. Coop didn't know what the hell he was doing. So there's a new administrations in town now. So we'll take it up and we'll do it again properly because I don't know what the hell Coop was doing. Well, who knows what he's doing? But anyway, he didn't do a good job that night, and we're gonna do it again, and we're gonna do it the right way. And Prince should win easily. Easily, I would say he might win. 15. 6. No, he might win 17-13. We do 30 joints. 17-13
Even
Prince.
that, and Prince and Mike is gonna be close, no matter how you
18
call
to
it.
18 to 18-12. How I line it up, but we're gonna line it up a little bit differently. We're gonna do 30 joints. And
Yeah.
and Prince will win easily, no
Now,
problem.
one aspect with Pac, I do, and if people want to call me the Pac hater, that's fine. I'm past that. But one thing that people say is that, oh, Pac was the GOAT. Well, I was outside when Pac was outside, and I don't remember people saying he was the GOAT. Now that's one thing. The GOAT wasn't a term back then, but I don't remember him saying this is the best rapper ever. Like I don't remember that conversation that people were having. That's one thing. But there were all type of people that may be legends today that back then people didn't look at as legends. Like back in the day, I said Jay-Z was going to be one of the greatest. People thought I was crazy. Back then, I said Nas would be one of the greatest. People thought I was crazy. You now hearing that, it doesn't sound crazy. But if we go back to 1996 and I'm hanging out with dudes and I'm like, yo, Nas is going to be one of the greatest, they're looking at me like, bro, like, you're like, calm down. Like Nas is cool, but he ain't gonna be one of the greatest, bro. Like that wasn't a conversation, y'all. Like I know it. I know because we hear it in the J rhyme. Who's the best MCs? Biggie, Jay Z, or Nas? He's talking about New York City. But there are places all around the country. So it's like I knew a lot of people that was just like, bro, if you say Nas is better than Pac, you crazy. Like people would think I was crazy. Like, and these are just we live in different times. What I appreciate about Jay is he always had a new album, so he kind of grew. I grew up always having a new Jay-Z album. Like I turned 24, I had a new Jay-Z album. I turned 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Every time I hit another year, I had a new Jay-Z album. So he's grown, he was growing with me. Nas the same. Like every year I grew another year, Nas had a new album. So I got to hear them grow. You know what I mean? But when we go back to the 90s, that wasn't the conversation yet. Like Jay and Nas didn't have a bunch of albums. When Tupac was alive and running around, people wasn't like, yo, this is the best lyricist, or the best. Like I didn't hear those conversations. So I think we have to keep in mind that now we're looking with hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. When we go back to the 90s, we didn't have that hindsight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, it was interesting the poll that Mike put up last week. Pac won, Me Against the World, against Ready to Die, Life After Death, lost against All Eyes on Me. It's interesting. The people spoke. Man, Max, I know it was difficult, man. I know it was tough for you, my guy, but it was what it was, man.
Yeah, I hear what Mad Max is saying. He's just like, let's just have an honest conversation.
But you know what though? I think what we need to do is, and what we're working on. We got a meeting with some people next week. So I'll go ahead and get into my announcement. We'll get into a meeting next week with some folks. We're trying to make it where we can play the music. So when we have these conversations, we can play the records in real time, let the audience digest it. It may not be on YouTube. I really don't like Station Head like that. So we're looking at different formats. We're looking at maybe doing it on X/Twitter, Rumble, or trying to get a special license from YouTube that will allow us to play music. So when we have these discussions, we can play them, maybe 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds, play them, have the actual music, poll it, and then we can go from there. And then we can articulate the reasons why we think which song is better. Was it the beat? Was it the rhyme? Was it the flow? Was it the drop? Was it the bridge? Was it the hook? We can do those type of things, but it's kind of hard to have substantive music conversations without using the music as the backdrop. So we're going to take our podcast to another level and be able to do it. And so that's what we're working on. We got a big meeting this week. Fingers crossed. It's going to take us out of here. It's going to get me out of this dingy basement to a nice studio. And then I'll take off my glasses. I'm going to take off my glasses when I get that check, though. Because I ain't going to the meeting with my glasses on. Actually, they may request me with my glasses. If they request me with my glasses, then I'll come with my glasses. But I'm gonna go to them folks' office, probably have my specs on,
right,
and get that check, and then we gonna have a party, and we gonna play music. But shout out to the people that it was no disrespect. It wasn't a shot at Coop. I was saying Coop's Prince list, and I've told him this personally in my phone when he did the Station Head last year, because I was in the background. I don't think you guys know. For every show that was done back in the day, normally I was in the background. For the last year and 2 years, I was in the background. I was the producer of the show. Even Coop and I did an episode together, if you guys remember it. We were in the studio. Mike was out, and Coop and I did a show. I just think he did a terrible job on the Prince station, and I told him that. He knows that. So we're going to do the battle in a different way, and I'm going to win. Prince will win, and that'll make Mike sad. But anyway,
I think Prince and Mike is like Biggie and Pac, man. You can't lose with whoever you pick. you can't lose, But I hear you.
Prince ain't better than Mike, though. Let's stop. Let's stop that rhyme. You gotta let that one go.
Deuce Fiasco asked, "What's wrong with Station Head?" From when I was using Station Head, it was difficult to you have to cue the songs up, so Mike would know. Like only one person can control it at a time. So Mike will be logged into Spotify, and you have to send it to me. So the element of surprise is not there. So if he plays like just say he plays Beat It, I'm gonna play Lady Cab Driver. Like but I don't want him to think. I don't want him to load my songs up and have him think 4 or 5 songs ahead of time. And so that's why I don't like it. I want to be able to control it in 2 different spaces. He play a song, I play a record, and then we go from there. That way I can beat him. You know what I mean?
Somebody just mentioned Pac and Nipsey weren't concerned with being lyrical miracles, right? And I would agree that's the case, right? But being a lyrical miracle is still trying to get respect today. Like in 2024, if you are considered a lyrical miracle, you're considered not cool, right? So now that's 2024. So imagine going all the way back to the 90s in your lyrical miracle. If you think that was considered cool, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? And back in those days, people wanted to know if people really didn't even care about your raps. They wanted to know if you were standing on business in the street. They wanted to know what actions did you do in the street that makes you gangster. Being gangster was more important than having bars back in the day. So people was like, nah, I want to listen to a gangster. I don't want to have to think when I listen to music. So when we listen to If I Ruled the World by Nas, right? We all respect that song now. We respected it then, but a lot of people was like, yo, is Nas a gangster though? Like, if he's not a gangster, I don't want to hear it. You know, because that was the mentality in a lot of people's, because keep in mind in the 90s, hip hop itself is a teenager. Like hip hop really started gaining legs in the 80s. Then in the 90s, it became a teenager as far as culture. So hip hop is still operating with a teenager mentality in the 90s. Like, it's not a grown man mentality in the 90s. Like, it's very few records that are like that. So it's like, even being a lyrical miracle today, like, we still have to explain, oh, why. Okay, well, Lupe said this bar, it should be respected because Lupe meant this, that, and the third. But even today, people are like, well, did Lupe ever move bricks? Did he ever fire automatic? Like, that's what people are interested in. You know what I mean? So being lyrical is still working its way through. You know what I mean?
No doubt, no doubt. So I thought I've done this a million times, and Leroy, this show has been great, and I want to make sure we.
Ron, you don't even have to answer that guy's question, bro. He's just a troll, bro.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted. I was going to answer real quick if there was still some uncertainty of what happened, but
if they don't know what happened by now, then they don't know what happened. Like he wasn't in tune. That was explained by both sides 3 or 4 times already. There's no reason to keep going back and forth on that. Like
Right.
you just now you acting like a little girl trying to get gossip and drama and try to start beef. Like those guys are not working together no more. They have their own thing going on. Everybody's cool. Why we keep trying to bring that up? Like that's just y'all
I
being
think
corny.
I think in hip hop spaces, which I am kind of concerned with, we think there can only be one king. Like, we're like, well, this person is the king. That person, well, this person is the best. Do y'all realize that there can be multiple greats? It doesn't have to be one great or two great, or it could be 5 greats, 6 greats, 20 greats. So we don't have to get in this mentality where there can only be one king. I think that's I think that's played out, man. You know what I mean? I just think that's the mentality. Like,
But
there
but
can
even
only
but,
be,
but Leroy, even that, like we're supposed to be men, right? If
yeah,
if Ron and Mike have explained their side 3 or 4 different times, Cool
yeah.
has explained his side 3 or 4 different times. Why are you in the chat still asking for a reason? Like, I mean, like it's just dumb. Like it
Yeah,
makes no sense.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
Everybody
yeah.
doesn't
I
make
spits it.
mean,
sense.
and what I do not know. Okay, he says he doesn't know. He says he never knew. He said one day he was gone. But I thought, I mean, so my question, my man, is how often do you watch the show? Because I thought we explained this on multiple different shows. So if
Wait,
you're maybe were you out for
that's up.
6 months, 7 months? I mean, I don't, and
Right.
maybe you were. So I don't want to be disrespectful. You could be deployed, serving our country. You could have done a bid. I don't know. I'm not making disrespect. Shout out to my people on lock. You know what I mean? So it could be a situation like that. But even people on lock, be tapping in. So they got phones and tablets. So I don't know. I don't know.
Find the person that fits your tastes and likes. Like, if you find a personality in this space that you relate to, and that you align, like, you agree with their takes on stuff, find that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
So so
agree with
so
that person. You
so
know?
so so, so let me just say this one. So I want to be fair. He wants to. So the situation was, it was creative differences. It didn't work out. If you watched the show before, you could see the tension bubbling up behind, on camera. It just wasn't a good situation. There was a ultimatum given, that he, he didn't want any other shows besides their show on the platform. I didn't think one of the architects of recording hip hop. I didn't think that was a wise business decision. So we made decisions and people moved on. That was it. So long story short,
Yeah.
creative differences didn't work out. Um, I've wrote lengthy comments responding to him in the chats about this matter, and that's just is what it is. So
Yeah, I
it,
mean, a lot of us personally, you probably have somebody that you worked with that you don't work with now, right? I mean, I thought that was like something that everybody has been through at some point. I don't know why, like everyone should be able to relate to that. Like if you've ever, had a business or ever had a partnership with someone, like like it happens, y'all. So but everybody has their own particular style. They have their own tastes and likes. There are things that I like. There's music that I don't like. So find where your taste is at. I got Currency in the background. Last week I was talking about I was talking about Blue and Evidence. I'm talking about things that I personally like. Find somebody that speaks to what you like and rock. You rock with that. You know what I mean? That's all.
no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So it's all good, and I'm a real, and I'm behind the scenes. I don't air business like that, but I'll just say this: there was overtures made. I never, you guys were never supposed to see me. You guys were never supposed to see me on this show. I was the producer. I had my own show. Matter of fact, I had a show with my sister-in-law called the RKY Show. We were doing some pilot episodes. It was a really, really dope show. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat to that. It was a different show. It was a vibe. It was like a Kelly. It was real like a morning type show, type hip hop morning show type vibe. We had a lady, had the man, we had that chemistry or whatever. And but unfortunately, my man had to take a sabbatical. It can only do one show a week, and that was on Wednesdays, and that was gonna last for about 3 to 6 months. So I said, no, there needs to be a Monday show. So I stepped up and did the Monday show. And then my man felt a certain type of way about that. And I said, well, we named the Monday show something else. We said, we won't call it, A2HH Live. We'll call it the Mic Check. That way there'll be some differences of shows. We can have various shows on the platform. It's just not just one show, Mike and Coop. And that plan has been in motion for years. Let's have multiple podcasts under the According Hip Hop umbrella. But my man had a feeling about that. Well, no, you can't be on instead of supporting it. I don't want nobody on Monday, but he wasn't have the authority to make those decisions about the platform. And we weren't gonna wait 4 to 5 months until he can resume doing multiple podcasts a week. So we made a decision that he didn't like, and he made his move, and we wish him the best. But that's the last time he explaining that. It is what it is,
Yeah,
man.
it's like still here, still here doesn't like me, but you're always here. You're always still here. Like I don't understand why you would be watching someone you don't like. That's a mystery to me. But again though, but everybody has their own styles. We're all hip hop fans. It's the same thing as like when you was back in school or college or whatever. You would talk about hip hop with your friends, and people would agree with some things. Some people wouldn't agree with some things. So just rock with who you rock with. Somebody did mention the Wake Up show, and I'm from that era. I was the kid that stayed up super late at night, trying to record Wake Up show episodes. And that's why I'm here, right? If you want to ask, I wasn't expecting to be here, but it just so happened. Sometimes you got to roll with the punches, right? And so that era was dope for me. We like finding new things, new albums, new artists, new material, and I would go to school the next day and we would talk about those things. So that energy is what I want to bring back or hope to bring back. That's not to hate on nobody else's energy. I'm not even the type of person that really would hate on somebody else. Like that doesn't even make sense to me. So,
Right.
but this is hip hop, man.
You know what, Leroy? Can I say something?
Yeah.
Still here. I like you, man. I like you, but you got to stop with Leroy, man. Leroy don't really be bothering people. I seen Leroy get mad on air one time. Like you got to stop, bro. You constantly typing up clown, and I mean, you expect him not to snap on you once or twice. I
Right,
mean,
right.
people are human beings, bro. You still here. You always in the chat, and you're very elitist. You like to snub people and they thoughts, and you type as if you're some purity, faith from the medieval times. Like, like relax. All right, it's just a hip hop conversation, bro. It's really it's like cut it out, man.
Just hip hop, man.
Just hip hop. Leroy don't be bothering nobody. He just gives his perspective. You guys don't like the perspective, cool, but that's Leroy's perspective. I come from I was raised that if you don't listen to everybody's perspective, then you're all you are is just an echo chamber for whatever you like. I don't like a lot of people's perspectives. I still listen, and I might eventually turn around and agree with them. You know,
Yeah.
Hey,
it just
check this out. Check this out. I dropped a link. I'm dropping a link in the chat right now. This is the pilot that we did for this other show we were working on, like that little morning show, like nightcap type show with my sister-in-law. And let me know what y'all think about that. Should we bring that back? You know, should we add different elements to what we're doing on Recording Hip Hop? We're going into this meeting next week, and I want to come with some fresh ideas because we want to keep it fresh. I think it would be good to have like a female component to it. We were talking about things in the periphery of hip hop. We also have the show Around the Culture of Vay. Check it out. You know, you've seen Vay pop in from time to time. We got the Weekend Rhyme. So we're trying to do multiple shows here, and that's really what we're trying to get the point across. We'll bring A2HH Live back at some point. There's Mic Check. We got things that we're trying to do. So it is what it is.
and Koi OI. I don't know how to say your name. Thank you. Still here. If you're not willing to get in the call and give your perspective, I mean,
Hey, man.
it's
Yeah.
like you just backseat driving from the sideline.
Hey guys, I gotta cut this short. So we'll talk soon. We'll check in. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. We'll go from there.
All right. We out of here. You gotta bounce?
Gotta bounce. Thanks.
Okay. All right, y'all. Peace, y'all. Appreciate y'all.